children, and welcome back to another storytelling session. My story for today is called A Young Ant's Promise. Once, there was a colony of ants busily building a nest as their home. They wanted to build their home as quickly as possible as the rainy season was near. The leader of the ants was called Chief Red. He told the rest of the ants to work hard. Yet, there was an ant which was lazing away on a leaf. He was Young Ant. "Hey, Young Ant, go and work with the others. The rainy season is near. This place we live in is going to be very wet and full of water. We must also save enough food," said Chief Red. Young Ant did not bother about what Chief Red said as he closed his eyes as though he was half asleep. Chief Red left the stubborn ant as he had tried many times to advise him. Young Ant laughed to himself. "Why should I help the others? It is better for me to rest here. If I am hungry, I will search for my own food. I don't need to work hard like them." Every day, the young ant watched his friends working hard while he lay lazily. If he was hungry, he would find food to eat and go to rest again. One day, a small ant came towards Young Ant. "My brother, aren't you ashamed of yourselves while looking at others who are working so hard?" said the small ant. "Why should I?" asked Young Ant. "Well, ants are well known for being hardworking. Don't you want to build the nest together with the rest of your friends so that the nest can withstand the strong winds and rain?" asked the small ant loudly to Young Ant. "I am not afraid. If the rainy season comes, I will hold on to this leaf," said Young Ant, and he started laughing very loudly. Little Ant nodded his head as he left the young ant alone. At last, the nest had finished. It was strong enough to face any strong rain and wind. Chief Red was happy with the hardworking ants. Once the nest was built, the ants moved all their food which they had collected into the nest. Not long after, the rainy season had arrived. Rain dropped heavily onto the ground every day. Chief Red and the other ants were happy that they had built a strong nest and saved a lot of food. They need not to worry as they had a strong home and enough food to survive during the rainy season. Young Ant was hanging onto the leaf. He had no nest to go to. Each time he tried to go from one leaf to another, he fell to the ground. He tried to save himself from drowning in the rainwater which was rushing on the ground. He was hungry as he had no food to eat as it had rained heavily for days. At last, Young Ant felt bad over his actions. He regretted for not listening to Chief Red and the small ants when they had advised him to work hard together with his friends. He felt ashamed to see Chief Red. Several days passed by. He felt weak and helpless. He was almost drowned by the water. It was Chief Red and the other ants that came to help. Young Ant was carried to the nest. "Forgive me, Chief Red. I was stubborn and did not follow your advice," cried Young Ant with regret. "I have forgiven you. Next time, you will not do the same mistake. Do remember that ants are well known for being hardworking. I don't want you to bring a bad name to all ants. Please always remember this," said Chief Red with a loud voice. Young Ant nodded his head in silence. "I regret what I have done and will work hard from now on," said Young Ant. From that day, Young Ant changed for the better. He started to be just like all his friends. Indeed, he was as hardworking as an ant. And that brings us to the end of my story, everybody. I hope you enjoy. Remember to stay home and stay safe. Take care. Bye.